How do you know if you've been deceived? How do you know if you're being lied to? What actually is true? What do you believe to be true? There's a problem going on, and we're at an inflection point where I think a lot of people have been fighting for something and they don't even know if the thing they're fighting for is real because they don't even know how to define reality. This channel I'm going to be starting is going to be me commenting on just basically humans' interaction with reality and the fact that we are easily deceived. We are lied to on a daily basis a lot, and we don't even know it. And we believe these lies to be true because they work. These lies work. They work themselves out and they do what they say they're going to do, and thus we say this lie must be reality. And so then we buy into the lie and we live our lives as if the lie is real. But the lie doesn't serve us, and that's what makes it a lie. What makes it a lie is not whether it's real or false, but what makes it a lie is the fact that it doesn't serve us and actually is serving the person who gives the lie. And so this is the thing, is deception is real. And you can actually live a life very successfully while being deceived. So your success doesn't determine whether you are deceived or not. But that is the problem we have when we start to understand truth and facts and reality. Is people say, well, this works. This thing it exists. I'm successful because of it. I'm enjoying my life. I'm happy because of it. That has nothing to do with deception at all. Deception has everything to do with the person who is doing the deceiving and what they get out of it. And maybe they get nothing material out of it, just satisfaction internally of deceiving others because it's like a game to them. It's kind of like what trolling is essentially on the internet, just a game. It's fun. It's fun to get a rise out of somebody. And that's pretty sick, to be honest with you, to think about somebody who likes to get a rise out of other people. Now, I like to do that, so that makes me sick. And we're all broken, and we all have things that need work. But this comes down to deception. And I'm going to build my axiom, is it axiom or axiom? Off of this one idea. And I'm going to say that this idea is not a lie. It is not deception. This is the truest of ideas. You cannot get to reality any more real than this idea. In fact, I think if you could find a way to prove this idea wrong, to say, Raleigh, this idea is a lie, this is deception, that would be fantastic. Leave it in the comments. Let me know how you think this what I'm telling you is not true. But I think it is more real than reality itself. And I'm going to dive into this. And it comes from a book that is controversial. A lot of people think that this book is made up of fairy tales and myths. But I challenge you with, if it is made up with fairy tales and myths, if this book is not true, does it mean that the information is not true also? And what if the information being delivered is being delivered in such a way that it knows you're just going to reject it? And so it doesn't matter how true the information is, you're going to find a reason why you're going to reject it. I know why you would reject it, because you're living in deception, because you have been deceived. And one of the hardest things for a person to do is be deceived and admit they have been deceived. Nobody wants to do that. Like that's not a good feeling to say, you know what, I bought into this lie. Right? People don't want to feel like they've been cheated or scammed or think that they have been. And we have a lot of pride in thinking we're making good decisions and we know what we're doing and we're old enough to make the decisions we want to for our lives. But the reality is you don't know if you're being lied to. Like even right now, you don't know if I'm lying to you or telling you the truth. We do not have a very good filter to figure out if we're being lied to. And what I mean by that is general population. Yes, there's probably people out there who have trained to figure out if somebody's lying to them. But even then, it's tricky. It's messy. It's not straightforward. And so if you do not know how to interpret information to find out if you're being lied to, then how can I even trust your opinion? You've got an opinion that you're posting on social media, you're telling your friends, you're sharing your ideas and your thoughts. But the reality is you don't know if you're being deceived. You don't even know how to identify what a lie actually is. You're not good at it. You're so bad at it that we already have the statistics to show that we're bad at it. I mean, the marriage rate, for instance, what does the divorce rate look like? I'm going to love you till death do us part. That's a lie. So it's just a flat out lie. 50% of the people lie in their wedding vows. That's what a lie is. I'm going to love you till death do us part, in sickness and in health. How many people have gotten divorced over some unfortunate situation because they don't want to dig in and go more? This is a lie. You're not willing to live your life out in such a way that it takes your beliefs and what you believe to be true, follows you to your death. No, because when you pivot, because it's uncomfortable, you're lying to people. You're serving yourself through deception. But it's such a long, big, like a big arc lie that it usually loses its meaning and value. It loses the pressure and intensity. So no one ever shows up 20 years later. They came to your wedding or something like that and goes, you lied. You said you're going to love her till death do you part, and you didn't do it. Nobody does that, right? So deception is a funny thing. If we give something enough time, we can deceive somebody, give them enough time that the lie goes so long that eventually when it comes to become, everyone realizes the lie, they kind of just, move on with their lives. Lying is constant. It's everywhere. Deception is constant. How many times have people said, this works, this is it, this is the thing, and then give it a few years and it's like, just kidding, it doesn't really work, it was a scam. It's everywhere. Everywhere. And I'm going to show you how true this understanding is, that it's grounded in the beginning of an entire group of people to understand that this is the fundamental truth. This is the more true than true. This is the reality over all realities. And if you do not understand this, you will consistently be deceived because you are living in a world of deceivers. And they're selling you the greatest truth that actually is a lie. They are using truth to deceive you. That is the best deception. Use truth to deceive somebody. So let's dive into this one little thought that's going to really, hopefully, shatter your entire worldview and make you think something a little bit differently. This is in the book of the Bible, Genesis. So really, it's in the book of Genesis, not just the Bible, but the book of Genesis. Genesis 3, 1 through 5. We're going to read this and set the pace. Okay, now, if you don't like the Bible, well, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to show you how the Bible is predicting your future. The Bible actually knows your behavior better than you know it yourself. Actually, it's not this one. We're going to go back a step. So let me get over here. Sorry. Snafu. There we go. All right. Genesis 1, 26 through 27. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish in the sea, over the birds in the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. That's not the important stuff. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. Okay, he created them. We're not going to get into the nuance there. I want you to notice that God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. If man, let's go with this story. Let's pretend this is just a story. So man gets created in the likeness of God. So he's got the likeness, the image of God. You look at man and you can see that he has something that is God-like. He has the image of God on him. Okay, so he's already like God in some regard. Hey, man, you're like God. You're in the image of God. But so let's dive into the deception then. What's the deception? Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field, so he's a deceiver, which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? So he asks a question that is true. Didn't God not say this? And the woman says to the serpent, we may eat the fruit of the tree of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. So she states a truth also. This is the story. She's accurately depicting the story of what's been said. So she's being honest as well. Serpent's being honest as well also. Then the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die. Now the serpent is not telling a lie. He's just spinning the framework. Okay? For God knows that in the day that you eat of it, you will be your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Okay, so what did the serpent just do? He leveraged the truth against the truth to create a lie. He said that if you eat of this fruit, you will be like God. I thought God just said he created man and woman in his image and that they are like him. They're like us. God said, we've created them in the likeness of us, in our image. So they already have the likeness of God. How, and this is what perplexed me, how can I become more like something if I'm already like it? So that is the lie. The lie is, hey, Apple, you could be more of an apple if you do this thing. You'd be more of an apple. Now, how many times have we just heard that? You're this thing, but if you only did this thing, you'd be more of it. Now, this is an identity problem. When you look at humanity as a whole, all of our problems are rooted out of this. Here we have a book written a long time ago with a story that is very old and well known, and it's telling a story about the root of the human condition. Now you can go, this book's a myth. Yes, but what it's saying, you cannot counter-argument. There's no counter-argument for what it is saying. It is saying that truth was delivered, that a cunning individual leveraged truth against that truth to deceive. And not only did they leverage truth against truth to deceive, they deceived at the most core fundamental level of what it means to be human. They said, let's talk to the atheist right now. If you're an atheist and you're a non-believer, okay? And they said, you're human, but if you did this thing, you would be more human. How can I be more of something if I'm already it? That is the greatest, biggest lie. It's the greatest, biggest lie that we find in today's culture being leveraged and pivoted against everything. The greatest, biggest lie that happened in the book of Genesis is happening today, and yet people say that this book is a myth. They'll go, God's not real. Well, you know what? It predicted today. It predicted that you're going to be using the same form and same techniques of deception today that were being used thousands of years ago. And if it knows that, then how dumb are we? We are so dumb that we're falling for the same deceptive tactics because we've decided to say something is a myth and untrue, and I don't have to follow and listen to it, and I'm so smart and so clever. No, you're not. We're idiots. We are idiots when it comes to understanding deception. We're just dumb as rocks. Let me point this out. You will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. He actually, the serpent, delivers a greater truth than the truth itself to deliver the lie. Two key points here. Adam and Eve don't know evil. So they are made in the likeness of God, except for the fact that they don't know evil because they've never sinned. They've never experienced evil. And so they know evil without the experience of evil. They don't know evil because they haven't experienced it. God is all-knowing. God is all good, but God can know of evil, but it never influences him. It cannot affect him because he cannot be evil, according to his definition. Now, we're not going to get into that. But God says, you're created in my likeness, which means they're created in his goodness. But the serpent says, yeah, but you could be more like God if you knew evil. See, you're like God, but you have one missing piece is you don't know evil. Now, evilness is not like God in his likeness, but it's an attribute that God can understand. He can understand it, but it is not like him. But to understand it then makes you more like God. See, this game is being played. God didn't do anything. He didn't lie. He didn't deceive. He said, I made you just like me. You're like me. And the serpent said, you could be more like God. Now, why would the serpent say that? Because according to the story in the Bible, which I believe is true, but we're going to call it a story right now, is Satan was cast out of heaven, thus he sinned against God, thus he is now evil. He went and rejected the goodness of God. So we have this light and darkness. Satan is the darkness. The serpent is the darkness. And the serpent is saying, I know about evil. I know about the darkness. And I know that you know nothing about this darkness because I am the darkness. But you don't know about it. So, if you eat of this fruit and disobey God, you're going to know something that you don't know. You're going to know more about something that you have no understanding of. He's deceiving them by pushing them into the darkness. The darkness is not like God, but God has the knowledge of the darkness. Therefore, you can be more like God because you have more of the knowledge of the thing that's not God. This is a convoluted deception. It's crazy, high-level thinking right here. And this is what's happening to us all the time. All the time. This is sales tactics. This is marketing. This is, social groups and fitting in. And I mean, we're doing this type of stuff on all sorts of levels. But here's what I want the kicker point. This is the main key point here. The serpent is not attacking truth. He's not attacking facts. He's not attacking the understanding of reality. He's not attacking any of those things. What the serpent is attacking is identity. You are like God. That's your identity. Hey, Adam, who are you? Oh, I'm like God. Hey, Eve, who are you? Oh, I'm like God. He's attacking the identity, how Adam and Eve are being identified. They're being identified as like God, in the image of God, and he's attacking their identity. And so with the root of every human problem, right here in Genesis, is telling us the very first human problem. They could come up with any first human problem, right? The first human problem could have been murder. It wasn't. The first human problem could have been stealing from your neighbor. I mean, it could have been any sort of human problem, but it isn't. It's deception of identity. That's the first human problem. And then out of that, everything else builds. Now, you cannot tell me that somebody was a dum-dum who wrote this. You cannot tell me that a dum-dum said, you know what? We're going to make this the first problem, and it's really a nothing burger, and we're just going to, hope and pray that works and everything else. No. Whoever wrote this understands the human condition better than you understand your own human condition, better than I understand my own human condition. They understand the human condition so well that they understand that every human problem is rooted in identity. And that is what is being fought over, your identity. Your identity is being fought over so much that people are willing to deceive you in empowering you to decide how you want to define yourself. As if you are just a moldable piece of Play-Doh that can define yourself however you want to, because you don't have an identity. In fact, let's remove your identity. Isn't it weird? And I'm just going to hit on these. Isn't it weird that we have mental health solutions, but we cause mental health problems? Why are we a culture that allows problems to exist that create mental health issues when we know how to solve mental health problems? Shouldn't we be against that? Shouldn't we legally ban anything that would cause a mental health problem? Shouldn't that just be illegal? No, it's not. In fact, we encourage people to have mental health problems by what we do, by what we endorse. It's deception. We can't solve mental health issues. We can't solve them. We can't, because we're not preventing them. So we sit there and we pat ourselves on the back because we have mental health services and people go to and they feel better, and that's fantastic. But we're not preventing mental health problems. So there's the deception. You've already bought into the deception. The deception is, let's create a problem so we can solve it. It's the classic feeling that people had from when I grew up in the 1990s as a kid. I remember people not trusting auto mechanics, as if like an auto mechanic, you took your car to an auto mechanic and the idea was like they're going to take a razor blade to a hose, cut a hole in the hose, and then they fix your problem. And then you come back the next week going, I have another problem. My radiator hose has a cut in it. And they're like, oh, I don't know what happened. I mean, that's how people felt about auto mechanics. They just thought that they were like these sleazy slime ball people who just sabotage your vehicle so that you come back in and have to get it repaired again. That's how I remember people talking about auto mechanics that way. Oh, they're not like that anymore to the same degree. In fact, I think there's probably more regulation that's happened in making them so that they have to be more honest. But maybe that was never even true. Maybe these people were just crazy and deceived, right? But this is the idea that is going on, is that we believe that we have the solution to something, yet what actually is happening is we're creating the very problem so we can solve it, so then we can pat ourselves on the back for being so smart and so clever. No. We're not as good as we think we are. We're not as capable as we think we would never have the problem if we actually were masters of the solution. We just wouldn't have it. But there we go, we have it. You look at education. You get to all these people who are teachers and all these people who are educators, and it's just the people individually as people, amazing, great people. But education is a lie. It's one of the biggest, greatest deceptions. It's just a huge lie. Riley, how can you say that? Because I was homeschooled and I basically taught myself. And I'm a business owner and I'm doing just fine. And I didn't have an education. So this idea of how important an education is built on the idea of a list that we're just supposed to go through and check off these boxes and be like, yep, this is this. And the reality is education comes down to closer to desire and will. How bad do you really want it? That's just the simplicity of it. If you want it really badly, you will go educate yourself so you can go get it. But we put this whole thing on education. What do we get? We get a bunch of people who are basically have no desire and will. They don't desire more than what they have. They don't think they're good enough. They settle for being complacent. They're okay with being average. I mean, education is not actually, if we were great at education, we would have human beings who are coming out of the education system with incredible confidence across the board. We wouldn't be leaving people behind with bad attitude. I mean, educators get the children more than the parents do. So the fact that the educators are not influencing the children at the mass level, okay, so now we have this mass level problem. Sure, there's isolated situations where there's these amazing teachers, but we don't have it on a mass level. So that means that the education is allowing people to become educators who are not qualified to educate because they have their own problems. And this is where we've allowed deception to creep in. So we've compromised the system because we say, oh, well, everyone should have education. So because everyone should have education, we're going to put teachers in place who shouldn't be teachers. They're just looking for a job, but we need to fill the spot because these people need education. We've just deceived ourselves. Now we just created a machine that isn't actually producing the very thing. I mean, you just look at the test scores, right? Look at the problems. Look at the issues coming out. We've destroyed the concept of a family with no understanding of the ramifications because we want freedom, the choices to do whatever we want. Crazy. You're deceived. You have no idea the consequences of what you're playing with. You have no idea. You're deceived. You've been lied to. There's tons of other issues. I'm not going to touch on those hot topic issues right now, but I want you to understand something. It's very simple. It's just very, very simple. And that is, your problems are rooted in your identity. How you perceive yourself, what you think about yourself, how you understand who you are, that's what your problems are rooted in. And there's a book that knew this thousands of years before you've ever even understood it. And yet you think you're smart. I thought I was smart. I was raised reading the Bible. I was raised in the church. I was raised knowing this information, and even I was deceived by my own lies because I did not understand that my identity is the root of all my problems. Now it's a total game changer. I've shifted and pivoted, but we're not going to go into that. What I want to talk about, just end with, is this. I'm not very good at understanding whether I've been lied to or not. I'm not. I'm not very good at understanding if I've been deceived. Usually it's too late. And because I understand that actually gives me more power so that I'm more open to pivoting how I perceive the world. Because I understand that there's a high probability chance that 90% of what I'm doing is accurate and 10% of it is wrong, but that 10% is influencing my 90%. And so therefore, I try to get that 10% under control and figure it out because I know it will change the trajectory of the 90%. I don't have to worry about what is true, what is real, what is facts. I don't have to worry about that. Because I have to worry about the deception. And the more and more I can eliminate the deception, the other stuff just goes where it's going to go. It's going to be fine. But I need to be more concerned about how I'm being deceived because that's the linchpin to the entire problem. How am I being deceived? What is it in it for you to deceive me? You want to take your ideas. I mean, think about this. We think that we've got it so figured out. Like any person on the internet, any talking head, anybody who's got anything about anything, anybody who's trying to influence somebody's like, I've got the answers. I've got it figured out. Just like what I'm trying to do right now. I've got the answers. I've got it figured out. Here's the reality. We are terrible at convincing other people. We're terrible at it. Like zero, like we are so bad at convincing other people. We should be fired from the job of trying to do that. We should be realizing that we're so bad at it that we should go, maybe the reason why I'm trying to convince somebody else is my ego and my narcissism and less about actually being good at this. Like if we were good at convincing other people, we wouldn't have division. It just wouldn't exist. If we were actually good at it, like scientifically good at it. I mean, there's a great book written by Chris Voss on Never Split the Difference. A great book on negotiation. Fantastic. But the reality of it is this. No matter how smart and educated these people are, no matter how much they figured out, which is great, they figured out these key components, we're never going to bring everyone together because we're still bad at convincing people that they're being deceived. Because I'll go, oh, well, you're being deceived because of blah, blah, blah. And then you're just going to throw back at me that I'm being deceived because of blah, blah, blah. And we're just sitting here arguing. Now, we're not using that terminology because we're saying, well, this is the fact here. Well, you didn't check this fact here. We're all arguing the facts perceived through deception. But if I could prove to you that you're being deceived, that changes everything you think is true. It's not about truth. It's about deception. The deception is coming for what you believe is true, saying that what you believe is true can be even more true if you buy in and dig in even deeper. That is the greatest form of deception. What you should be questioning is, why am I even pursuing this truth? And is this truth capable of deceiving me? Because everything is capable of being leveraged for deception. The very beginning of humanity in this story, created in the image of God, the core root of everything that's going to hinge on humanity in this story is being used to be leveraged for deception. This is the most perfect, holy, complete thing a person could hold on to. You're creating the image of God. Oh my goodness, how could it get any better? This is the more true thing than it's to be true. And that's being leveraged against the very person to deceive them. So whatever you think is true is likely to be leveraged against you to deceive you. And because you don't know how to identify deception, you buy into it because you believe in the truth. You believe in what is true. This is the great lie. And this is why we all have problems. We all have problems because our identity is being scammed. It's being scammed. I don't care if you're a believer, you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care who you are. Your identity is being scammed. 100%. There is people in every group who have bought into a lie. In every group, they bought into a lie. They bought into a lie about their identity. And they're living their lives miserably because they believe in what they think is true, but they're actually being deceived. And they cannot find any sort of comfort, peace, contentment in life at all. They're miserable because they've bought into this lie that they believe is true. And so then just keep living it out to the gratification of the serpent. He's being gratified. He's like, I got what I wanted. I ruined you. And boy, isn't that the ultimate troll? I get to sit behind a screen and ruin you. And I don't have to worry about any of your daily moments. I'm not around you when you're by yourself at home at nighttime alone, wondering all these crazy thoughts that go inside your head because you're like, this doesn't feel right. And I'm crazy. This isn't working. But at the end of the day, you still buy into what you believe to be true, even though you're being deceived by the very truths that you're believing in. There you go. This is my channel, Reality with Rawls. I have no idea when I'll make another video. If you like this video, if you want me to make more videos on crazy topics that challenge all of us, okay? This is not a one-sided conversation. This is not a side of you need to take on my beliefs. No, I'm going to challenge all of us. And I challenge you right now. Do you think identity is at the core of every human problem? Because I do. I've tested it and I've looked and saw Identity is the very truth that is being leveraged to deceive, and that's the fundamental core truth. If I can deceive you with your identity, I got you. That's it. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's your belief system, if it's your sexual identification, orientation. Doesn't matter if it's your skin color. Doesn't matter if it's your diet. It doesn't matter if you exercise. Whatever you identify with is the thing that can be leveraged against you to deceive you. And you'll buy into it because you believe in your identity to be true. The serpent said, aren't you created in the likeness of God, basically? And the girl's like, yeah, I'm created in the likeness of God. Well, did you not know you could be more like God if you ate of the thing that you were told not to do? And she bought into it. I didn't know I could be more like God. She's already like God. You will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God. They're already created in his image. They're already like God. That's the great deception. There you go. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, that right there is a truth. And it's a truth because we understand how it can be used to deceive. And now we're one step closer to understanding, holy crap, I've probably been deceived a lot in whatever it is I believe. Doesn't matter what you believe. You've been deceived a lot. There's people, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and there's a lot of people in the Christian community who have been deceived. They don't know it. They bought into things that they don't even know because they're chasing after what they believe is true. But they've been deceived. And I know it. I know it because I've learned it and I've understood it. I'm still a Christian. Doesn't change anything. I just understand how I've been deceived because people are trying to deceive us. Not maybe even with ill intent because they're themselves are deceived. And so their deception builds onto somebody else's deception, and then it builds onto somebody else's. And pretty soon we just learn to accept it, and we don't go to unravel it and say, whoa, 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 how did we even get here? What was the thing that made us question our identity in whatever it is that we're pursuing after? That's what I challenge you with. How are you being deceived? In what ways can somebody leverage the things you believe into deception? Because they can and they will and they are. So if you don't understand how you could deceive somebody with the things you believe is true, then you are guilty of potentially becoming a liar because you don't even understand it yourself. Therefore, you're probably saying things that have actually been used to leverage deception. And thus, without your own knowledge, you're saying things that are actually lies. But you don't know any different because it's true to you. Because you don't see this game. There you go. Have a great day. Be blessed.